Welcome to our exploration of the theory of evolution by natural selection. This groundbreaking idea, first proposed by Charles Darwin in the 19th century, has transformed our understanding of life on Earth. Evolution explains how living organisms change over generations, adapting to their environments. In this video, we'll break down the core concepts, trace the history of the theory, and see how it shapes our view of the natural world. Let's begin by understanding what evolution really means and why it's considered one of the most important scientific theories ever developed. Its core, evolution is the process by which species of organisms change over time. These changes can be small, like slight variations in color or size, or large, leading to the emergence of entirely new species. Evolution is driven by a variety of factors, but the most significant is natural selection. Over many generations, beneficial traits become more common in a population, while less helpful traits may disappear. This gradual process explains the incredible diversity of life we see today, from tiny bacteria to towering trees and complex animals. Charles Darwin's journey aboard the HMS Beagle was a turning point in the history of science. During his travels, Darwin observed a wide variety of plants and animals, especially on the Galapagos Islands. He noticed that similar species had unique adaptations depending on their environments. These observations led him to question how species originated and changed. Darwin's careful study of nature laid the foundation for his revolutionary theory, which he would later publish in his famous book, On the Origin of Species. Natural selection is the process by which organisms better adapted to their environment tend to survive and reproduce more successfully. This concept is often summarized as survival of the fittest. Over time, the traits that help individuals survive and reproduce become more common in the population. Natural selection acts on the variation that already exists within a species, favoring those traits that offer an advantage in a particular environment. This mechanism is the driving force behind evolution. Within any population, individuals are not identical. There are always differences in traits such as size, color, speed, or resistance to disease. These variations arise from genetic differences and mutations. Some of these traits may give certain individuals an edge in surviving and reproducing. For example, a bird with a slightly longer beak might be better at reaching food, giving it a better chance to thrive. Over generations, these advantageous traits can become more widespread. Mutations are random changes in an organism's DNA. While most mutations have little or no effect, some can create new traits. Occasionally, a mutation provides an advantage, such as resistance to a disease or better camouflage. When this happens, natural selection may favor the mutated trait, allowing it to spread through the population. Over long periods, mutations are a key source of the genetic diversity that fuels evolution. Adaptation is the process by which a species becomes better suited to its environment. Through natural selection, traits that help an organism survive and reproduce become more common. For example, polar bears have thick fur and a layer of fat to survive in cold climates. These adaptations didn't appear overnight but developed over many generations as individuals with helpful traits survived and passed them on. Adaptation is a continuous process, shaping species as environments change. The phrase survival of the fittest is often used to describe natural selection. However, it doesn't always mean the strongest survive. Instead, fitness refers to an organism's ability to survive and reproduce in its environment. Sometimes being small, fast, or even camouflaged is more beneficial than being strong. The key is having traits that match the challenges of the environment, allowing those individuals to pass on their genes to the next generation. Fossils provide some of the strongest evidence for evolution. By studying layers of rock and the fossils within them, scientists can trace how species have changed over millions of years. Transitional fossils show features that are intermediate between ancient and modern species, helping us understand how major groups of organisms evolved. For example, fossils of early whales reveal how land mammals gradually adapted to life in the water. Comparative anatomy is the study of similarities and differences in the structures of different species. Many animals share similar bone structures, even if they look very different on the outside. For instance, the forelimbs of humans, bats, and whales have the same basic bones, suggesting a common ancestor. These similarities, called homologous structures, provide strong evidence for evolution by showing how species have diverged from shared origin. Embryology, the study of how organisms develop before birth, offers fascinating clues about evolution. Early embryos of many animals look remarkably similar, even among species that are very different as adults. These similarities suggest that these species share common developmental pathways inherited from a distant ancestor. As development continues, differences emerge, reflecting each species' unique adaptation. Embryology helps us trace evolutionary relationships that aren't always obvious in adult forms. Modern genetics has provided powerful support for the theory of evolution. By comparing DNA sequences, scientists can see how closely related different species are. The more similar the DNA, the more recent the common ancestor. For example, humans and chimpanzees share about 98% of their DNA, indicating a close evolutionary relationship. Genetics also reveals how mutations and genetic drift contribute to the diversity of life, further supporting Darwin's ideas. Artificial selection is a process where humans intentionally breed plants or animals for specific traits. This is different from natural selection, which happens without human intervention. Examples include dog breeds, crops, and livestock. By selecting which individuals reproduce, humans have created a wide variety of forms in a relatively short time. Artificial selection demonstrates how selection can shape species, providing a clear analogy for how natural selection works in nature. Speciation is the process by which one species splits into two or more separate species. This often happens when populations become isolated, such as by a mountain range or a body of water. Over time, genetic differences accumulate and the populations can no longer interbreed. Speciation is a key mechanism by which the diversity of life increases, leading to the vast array of species we see today. Geographic isolation occurs when populations of a species are separated by physical barriers, such as mountains, rivers, or oceans. This isolation prevents them from interbreeding. Over time, each group may adapt to its unique environment, leading to the development of new species. Geographic isolation is a common trigger for speciation and helps explain the diversity of life on islands and other isolated habitats. Adaptive radiation is a process where a single ancestral species rapidly evolves into many different forms to fill various ecological niches. This often happens after a major environmental change or when new habitats become available. A classic example is Darwin's finches on the Galapagos Islands, which evolved different beak shapes to exploit different food sources. Adaptive radiation drives rapid diversification and innovation in the natural world. Coevolution occurs when two or more species influence each other's evolution. For example, flowering plants and their pollinators like bees or birds often evolve together. As plants develop new ways to attract pollinators, the pollinators may evolve traits that help them access nectar more efficiently. This ongoing interaction can lead to highly specialized relationships and remarkable adaptations in both groups. Convergent evolution happens when unrelated species develop similar traits because they live in similar environments. For example, dolphins, mammals, and shark fish both have streamlined bodies and fins, even though they are not closely related. These similarities arise because similar environmental pressures select for similar adaptations. Convergent evolution shows how nature can find similar solutions to similar challenges, even in different lineages. Divergent evolution occurs when two related species become more different over time, often due to different environments or selective pressures. For example, the forelimbs of bats and whales have evolved to serve very different functions, flying and swimming, even though they share a common ancestor. Divergent evolution helps explain the wide variety of forms and functions found in nature. Extinction is a natural part of evolution. Sometimes, species cannot adapt quickly enough to changing environments or new competitors, leading to their disappearance. Mass extinction events like the one that wiped out the dinosaurs have dramatically reshaped life on Earth. While extinction closes some evolutionary paths, it also creates opportunities for new species to emerge and diversify. You can observe evolution happening today. For example, bacteria can quickly evolve resistance to antibiotics, making some infections harder to treat. Similarly, insects may develop resistance to pesticides. These rapid changes are clear examples of natural selection at work, showing that evolution is not just a theory about the past but an ongoing process shaping life right now. There are many misconceptions about evolution. Some people think it's just a guess or that it claims humans evolved from monkeys. In reality, evolution is a well-supported scientific theory, and it explains that humans and monkeys share a common ancestor, not that one evolved directly from the other. Understanding these misconceptions helps us appreciate the true nature of evolutionary science. Theory of evolution provides insights into human origins. Fossil evidence and genetic studies show that humans share a common ancestor with other primates. Over millions of years, our ancestors developed traits like larger brains and the ability to walk upright. These changes didn't happen overnight but were the result of gradual adaptation and natural selection, shaping the unique species we are today. Tree of life is a metaphor used to describe the relationships among all living things. Every species is a branch on this tree, connected through common ancestry. As new species evolve, the tree grows more complex. This concept helps us visualize the unity and diversity of life, showing how all organisms are related through the process of evolution. Evolutionary arms race occurs when two species compete to outdo each other's adaptations. For example, predators may evolve sharper teeth while prey develop better defenses. This ongoing struggle can lead to rapid changes in both species, driving innovation and complexity in the natural world. The arms race is a vivid example of how natural selection shapes life through competition. Sexual selection is a special type of natural selection where traits are favored because they help individuals attract mates. For example, the bright feathers of a peacock or the elaborate songs of some birds are used to impress potential partners. While these traits may not always help with survival, they increase the chances of reproducing, passing those traits on to the next generation. Genetic drift is a random process that can cause changes in the frequency of traits in a population. Unlike natural selection, which favors traits that improve survival, genetic drift is driven by chance. This is especially important in small populations where random events can have a big impact. Over time, genetic drift can lead to the loss or fixation of traits, contributing to evolutionary change. Gene flow is the movement of genes between populations, often through migration. When individuals from different populations interbreed, they introduce new genetic material, increasing diversity. Gene flow can counteract the effects of genetic drift and help populations adapt to changing environments. It's an important mechanism that keeps populations connected and maintains genetic health. Mimicry and camouflage are fascinating adaptations that help organisms avoid predators or catch prey. Some animals mimic the appearance of more dangerous species while others blend into their surroundings. These traits evolve through natural selection, as individuals with better camouflage or mimicry are more likely to survive and reproduce. Over time, these adaptations can become highly specialized. Vestigial structures are body parts that have lost their original function through evolution. Examples include the human appendix or the tiny leg bones in whales. These structures are remnants of ancestors that used them for different purposes. Vestigial structures provide evidence for evolution, showing how species change over time and retain traces of their evolutionary history. Evolutionary developmental biology, or Evo-Devo, studies how changes in development lead to evolutionary changes in form and function. By comparing how genes control development in different species, scientists can uncover how new traits evolve. Evo-Devo has revealed surprising connections between distant species and has helped explain the origins of complex structures like eyes and limbs. Punctuated equilibrium is a theory that suggests evolution doesn't always happen gradually. Instead, species may remain stable for long periods, interrupted by brief bursts of rapid change. This idea helps explain patterns seen in the fossil record, where new species appear suddenly and then remain unchanged for millions of years. Punctuated equilibrium adds another layer to our understanding of how evolution works. Humans are now a major force shaping evolution. Through activities like habitat destruction, pollution, and climate change, we're altering the environments in which species live. Some organisms are adapting to urban environments while others struggle to survive. Our actions can speed up evolution in some cases or drive species to extinction in others, highlighting our responsibility to protect biodiversity. Understanding evolution is crucial in medicine. For example, the rapid evolution of viruses and bacteria affects how we treat diseases. Antibiotic resistance and the emergence of new viruses are direct results of evolutionary processes. By applying evolutionary principles, scientists can develop better treatments and anticipate how diseases might change in the future. Evolutionary principles are also important in agriculture. Farmers use selective breeding to develop crops and livestock with desirable traits, such as disease resistance or higher yields. Understanding how pests and diseases evolve helps in developing sustainable farming practices. Evolution continues to shape the food we eat and the way we produce it. Conservation efforts often rely on evolutionary knowledge. Protecting genetic diversity is essential for species to adapt to changing environments. Conservationists use evolutionary principles to manage endangered species, restore habitats, and maintain healthy ecosystems. By understanding evolution, we can make better decisions to preserve the natural world for future generations. Evolution isn't limited to biology. Cultural evolution describes how ideas, technologies, and behaviors change over time in human societies. Like biological evolution, cultural evolution involves variation, selection, and inheritance. Innovations that are useful or appealing spread through populations, shaping the way we live and interact. Cultural evolution has played a major role in human history. Evolutionary psychology explores how evolutionary processes have shaped human behavior and mental traits. By considering how our ancestors survived and reproduced, scientists can explain why we have certain instincts, emotions, and social behaviors. This field connects biology with psychology, offering insights into everything from mate choice to cooperation and aggression. Evolution isn't just a distant process, it affects our daily lives. From the foods we eat to the medicines we use, evolutionary principles are at work. Understanding evolution helps us make sense of the world, appreciate the diversity of life, and make informed choices about health, conservation, and technology. It's a powerful tool for understanding change and adaptation. Despite overwhelming evidence, the theory of evolution has faced challenges and controversy, especially from those with differing worldviews. Scientific debate has refined the theory, making it stronger and more comprehensive. Today, evolution is supported by evidence from many fields, including genetics, paleontology, and ecology. Understanding these challenges helps us appreciate the robustness of evolutionary science. Modern evolutionary synthesis combines Darwin's ideas with discoveries in genetics and molecular biology. This unified theory explains how evolution works at both the genetic and population levels. It incorporates natural selection, genetic drift, gene flow, and mutation, providing a comprehensive framework for understanding how species change over time. The synthesis continues to evolve as new discoveries are made. Evolutionary trees, or phylogenies, are diagrams that show the relationships among species. By analyzing genetic and anatomical data, scientists can construct these trees to trace how species are related. Evolutionary trees help us understand the history of life, the timing of major events, and the connections between different groups of organisms. Evolution is an ongoing process, and the future will bring new challenges and opportunities. Climate change, habitat loss, and human activity will continue to shape the course of evolution. Some species may adapt and thrive, while others may struggle to survive. By understanding evolution, we can better predict and respond to these changes, ensuring a more sustainable future for all life on Earth. Let's recap what we've learned about the theory of evolution by natural selection. Evolution explains how species change over time through mechanisms like natural selection, mutation, genetic drift, and gene flow. Evidence from fossils, genetics, and anatomy supports the theory. Evolution shapes every aspect of life, from bacteria to humans, and continues to influence the world around us. Understanding evolution helps us appreciate the complexity and beauty of life. Theory of evolution by natural selection is one of the most profound ideas in science. It connects all living things, explains the diversity of life, and reveals the power of adaptation and change. As we continue to study evolution, we gain deeper insights into our origins and our place in the natural world. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the fascinating story of evolution.